Okay, we are live again, and Happy New Year to all of you. Um, let's see, things are falling down here already. Hold on. Yeah, always prepared for these live streams. Okay, let me start all over again. Happy New Year. It's 2024, and we are 3 days into the new year. Um, and already things are heating up. Isn't it funny how that works? Um, the Epstein client list will be released in a few days, they say. And there are two things about that I find interesting. Of course, the names on the list, and also how many names were deleted from the list. Now, I guess we all understand that it's the rich, very, very rich and mighty that had the resources to pay people in the legal system or something like that to get deleted from that list. Um, but we will see. We will see. I will keep an eye on that, and also keep an eye out for fake lists because there are people out there who would love to put names on a fake list, right? To drag decent people down, you know. So that's coming up, and of course, much later this year, the American presidential election is coming up, and the weather forecast says riots in urban areas. Riots. It's already on the weather forecast. Now, okay. I went. Oh, I will. Okay. Let's take a look here at. Wow, lots of people have joined already. Mr. Sorpos and Based. And there is another Bjorn, and lots of people have joined. Let's see. Now, someone's trolling a little bit already. Didn't take long. Why always the doom and gloom titles? Now, there is a difference between being awake and doing things for the money, okay? And you should be able to understand what I'm talking about here, okay? So let's not waste more time on that. Now, I don't know, obviously, what's coming up in this so-called modern society, but I have a feeling, a hunch, my intuition tells me that this is going to be a demanding year, but maybe not in the way that we expected. There are a few things that we know, and I kind of went into that and had a look at that in my predictions video on my main channel. So I won't repeat myself there, but there are other things as well coming up. And, it's at this point, I think we should talk a little bit about the mental side of things. And what I mean by that is people are just fed up. And will not take much now to ignite that flame of rage and anger, because and I'm feeling that myself, like many other people do. Like, it doesn't matter how much you try anymore. It's rigged against you. You know what I'm talking about? And if you manage to make money, good money, it's just taken away in taxes. Um, the system is rigged against us, and it is getting worse. It's been like this, of course, for a long time, and also I would add that there's nothing new about this, but it is getting worse, and I think, I mean, 2024 is going to be a very expensive year. And they started the year in my, just to give you an example, they started this year here in my local area by activating the, I think it's called toll booths, where you have to pay when you drive past some cameras. And it's like at this time now, when people are struggling financially, I mean, it's not like they're building new roads. These, we're talking about these toll booths, they just put them in on old roads. So it's just another form of taxation, and more is coming. um, and let's see here. And of course, the more cameras, yes, that's you need Blade Runners. Yeah, I know what you mean. Um, Black pigeon pilled, and it's like this. Now, I will try not to get into yet another rant about smartphones, but I will say this. We will be taxed into oblivion just for existing, for breathing, for moving. Everything is going to be more and more is going to be taken away from us so that the wealth transfer, the big wealth transfer, can continue. We're not supposed to own anything. We're not supposed to. Yeah, okay. There are things that I probably shouldn't say here on this social media thing. um, and you know, a lot of people now, they're fed up, and it's like they have, and this is a good thing. They've started. People are starting to realize how rigged the system is against them. I'm not talking conspiracy theories, nothing like that. I'm just talking about, if you look at what you spend your money on, if you're looking at how difficult it is now to save up money, wealth, if you're looking at that now, you will be shocked. But most people, they don't look at that. They take up a high mortgage, they buy a nice car and a house that they can't afford, and they think that they are wealthy, but they're not. They're just slaves of the system. They're just basically renting things from the bank, right? So, I don't have any solutions right now. I don't. I don't. And but I would say that anything that we can do that is outside of that system, outside of surveillance, outside of control, is good. We should do more of that. Again, that ties into the thing with the smartphone. You can't really do that if you have a smartphone on your person, right? Because then you are surveilled and you are being watched and listened to. And that's not a conspiracy theory. I can't talk now. That's just a technical fact. Um, Master OPC. Happy New Year to you. Um, let's see here. Savagely says, hunker down, buy metals, prep to live outside the system, and whatever that looks like. Me retiring in my cave, literally. Um, I kind of agree, but buy metals, I think that's a financial thing. It doesn't make sense in my mind to do that if you don't know the metals market. Me personally, I don't. But I would not do that and put that kind of money into buying precious metals if I wouldn't do that counting on that to be used as a form of currency after a financial collapse. I'm not saying that is impossible, but I would say if you're going to invest in metals, you should also know the metals market so that you can sell and trade. Um, and the same, I guess, with Bitcoin. I don't know the that kind of investments at all. I have invested in the stock market, and it's doing quite okay. Um, and let's see here. Savagely, yes, in limited amounts for metals. I focus on gardens, bunnies, chickens. Yes, that's a very good point. I mean, we kind of know that at least in for some time into the future now, things are going to get more expensive and more scarce, possibly. So it makes sense to buy the things that you can afford and that you know that you will need now. Don't wait, you know. Um, now, Raven says, I'm overpaying my mortgage every month now. Just want a debt, debt. Why do you have a B there? Debt gone. Wonderful. Um, let's see. Yeah, well, skills. We're talking prepping now. Skills, that's important. Um, People is important. Knowing good people that you can trust. And often people say like minded people. You know, I kind of don't like that so much, that expression, because it implies that you have to agree on everything. I don't think you have to agree on everything to trust someone. It just means, well, what matters to me, I think, is that the person is trustworthy. Um, that's much more important, I guess. Um, yeah, the Spearman says 2024 is going to be a year of history. It's going to be crazy. Yes, thanks for reminding me because that's what I wanted to talk about, basically. And I can't remember the title now, but I considered making the title, peak craziness or something like that. Now, why is that? Well, because I think that people are going to start to push back. We're seeing that already. Push back against the woke madness. They're going to push back against the gender thing. And I will add to that I'm a very tolerant person, and you know if you're an adult, live whatever lifestyle suits you. Wonderful, go for that. But don't push it onto other people and stay away from the kids. It's very simple. It is very simple. Okay, but the gender craziness, you know, people are going to start push back against that because it's gotten too ridiculous, too demanding. People are going to not accept being told what they can't say anymore. We have had enough. Okay, I've had enough. Oh, I'm almost cursed now. I've had enough. I'm so sick and tired of this now. Um, Now, currently, I'm looking out at almost a meter of snow, and now we minus 17 Fahrenheit or minus 27 Celsius forecasted for this Friday or Saturday. So it's cold here in Norway now, and I think that, where am I going with this? Well, basically, so we have. I'm going to have to be a little bit careful now. You know how it is here on especially YouTube. So I will say this first and foremost, that I and it is my opinion as well. I do think that human activity has an impact on the climate. The question is how much, and if you go to what's it, the United Nations or whatever, they will say a lot. Other people will have an opinion, or they say it's very little. But the answer must be somewhere in between, okay? Or, well, you make up your own mind. I'm not making any claims here, okay? And I want this. I'm not what they would call a climate denier. What a stupid expression, by the way. But that's not the point here. The point is that people are going to start having enough of being told that they need to live in a certain way, in squalor almost, eating ultra processed plant based foods so that they can save the climate. Because that's, let me rephrase myself so that this live stream can stay up, okay? I wonder how many people really believe that. Do people really believe that if they start eating in such a manner, which is very unhealthy, by the way, do they think that they're going to save the climate? I don't think many people believe that, and they are therefore going to push back against the whole thing. And here's the thing, we are going to push back, and these people are going to not accept having their power taken away. So they're going to get even crazier. That's I'm seeing. I'm expecting that. I'm expecting the woke people to get even more demanding, even crazier. I'm expecting the whole climate thing to get even crazier, and I'm expecting more people becoming more and more polarized. So if you're someone like me, I believe that I'm quite moderate and not, um, yeah, I'm just moderate when it comes to many of these things, I guess. Hated, both groups hate me for that, because you're not supposed to be nuanced, are you? No, you're supposed to be extreme on either on this side or that side, So expect craziness, peak craziness. Um, yeah. Let me have a look here at the chat. Um, let's see. Yeah, Adrian, a lot of people are saying read the Bible. That's a funny. You're not saying that, but some people are saying that. Read the Bible. That's a funny thing to say to an author. Like, and it implies that if I just had read the Bible, I would become a Christian and a believer. No, that's not how it works. It's kind of a little bit insulting to imply that authors haven't read such important books, okay? Um, what we need to understand is that well, the Bible being a collection of stories, myths, and you know, with lots of historical references as well. It's not unique. It's not the first, and history was, of course, human history goes way back. So biblical history, if we can use such an incorrect term, is just up here and it goes way back. So what I'm trying to say is that when people say it's biblical, well, it is human. It's not biblical, it's human, right? What we're seeing now has been observed before from the almost from the start of civilization. Um, it's just patterns. We're watching patterns. Um, and it is important to be able to identify those patterns. Saying that, I will also say that we should be careful and not try to see patterns where the patterns are just a result of randomness, okay? Because we as human beings, we tend to do that. We see connections where there are not no connections. It's just a random thing. And we have a problem understanding randomness. It's in our psyche, and it's just how we are wired. But anyway, it's, having said that, we are certainly seeing some patterns now. It's quite obvious. So, let's see here. So, yeah, well, the Bible is also prophecy. It is a prophecy if you're a believer in Christianity, you know, then you could claim it's a prophecy. It's not that to other people. So we will be mutually respectful here, okay? Okay, so now we are, as I said, just days into the new year. And what I think is that, and now this is a more practical thing, okay? We're going to see families and, well, households basically getting into financial problems in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks. Serious problems because they have reportedly, people have been shopping more than they should on their credit cards and so on. We are going to see a drop in the price of, do you call it capital goods? No, that's a direct translation from Norwegian. What I mean by that is like cars, uh, computers, TVs, maybe, things like that. That things that are a little bit expensive, right? Um, the property market, well, it depends on where you live, I guess, if it drops or not. Uh, but we're going to see that very soon, I think. I'm not sure, but that should happen very soon now, at least here in Norway. But it should be the same in many other Western countries, at least. Um, now, now the chat is not frozen. It's working fine here, and if there is a problem, it's not from on my side. It's not from my side. So, uh, let's see here. Ice Vogel says there has never been a better time to forget differences, but to find common ground. Their weapon is still divide and conquer. Yeah, probably, absolutely. But here's another thing I would just throw out there. I do not believe in one elite having one plan to rule the world. I don't think it works that way. This is so complex. So there are many groups who want more power, right? There are many, or at least many diverse uh, groups, not diverse groups. What's the word? There's a multitude of these groups with that are interconnected, and I don't think that there is. Well, they certainly is. If you look at the World Economic Forum, they talk about their plans, but I don't think it's that streamlined. I think it's much more chaotic than people, especially people here listening here, want to believe. And I often need to remind myself that it would be virtually impossible when you think about how many factors are involved and how many people are involved. It would be impossible to have it streamlined. It's just more chaotic. But we're seeing a gradual movement where they're pushing us in a certain direction. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm? You understand what I'm talking about here? Um, Audrey, are you saying that to me? Am I your honey? That's very cute. Oh, I didn't know that. All governments meet with each other in Europe, honey. Is that directed to me? I don't know. But please don't be condescending to anyone here. Not me, not anyone else in the chat. Okay? We are quite informed. Um, when you manage and you lead a project, right? To anyone who has done that, it is difficult when the more people that are involved, it gets more and more difficult to keep it moving according to the plan. Can you imagine when you involve thousands upon thousands of people? It's not going to be streamlined. It's going to be quite chaotic. So, yeah, you are hearing the dogs. They don't want to go out now because it's so cold. Um, so, yeah. And here's another funny thing. I think that the interconnections are stronger than you think they are in the places where you don't expect them, right? And I think that they are weaker than you think they are in the places where you expect them to be very strong. Let me give you one example, and this is an obvious one, right? Um, so I think that the whole globalist agenda thing is not as strong and as we think it is often. We tend to think it's very strong, right? And I think that it's more chaotic and more organic, actually, than that. But on the local level, I believe that your local government is much less democratic, much less and much more interconnected with financial interests, unelected people, and much more corrupt than we tend to think that it is. So, um, Black Pigeon Pill is asking, do you think 2024 will see the end of the Ukraine war? I think to answer that, I will make myself a little bit interesting here, and I will say we need to define what war is. And that's why I've said that I believe in 2024 we will see some kind of peace treaty or ceasefire in Ukraine. Why is that? Because there's a presidential election coming up. And if Trump wins, no, I shouldn't say that. If Trump becomes president, some say that's likely, some say it's very unlikely. That will happen in, is it the winter 2025? But leading up to that, well, so it could be actually be going on through the year. But I think also that the Democratic Party, they know that the American public, they do not want money and weapon going to Ukraine. And that's going to be probably one of the main reasons for voting for a Republican, uh, the Republicans, for many people. So they're going to take that away from the Republicans. That's what I think, and say that, oh, and your old potato will say that he negotiated a peace treaty in Ukraine or something like that. They will still say that Putin is the devil, but they will have some kind of angle there, and you know, um, and if they do that, then there will be less people killed in Ukraine. That's how I define it. Less people killed. Um, and then there are people, of course, who are saying that if the West stops sending money and weapon to Ukraine, then Russia will eat more and more and occupy more and more of Ukraine. I disagree, but I'm not an expert on that. None of us, I think, are experts on this matter. But that's what I think, and we will see. um, let's see. It's not an election; it's all theater. Well, it certainly looks like a theater. Um, if I think that Trump is part of the plan, I don't think there is a plan. I think it's more complex than that. I'm sorry, it's like I'm making things complicated here, but I don't think there is a plan. I think, as I just talked about that, I guess. Thank you for the book recommendation. You know what, I have so many books I have to read now. I'm going to sit down in the evenings now and just read. Um, it's been a while since I did that. Uh, yeah, I have. Yeah, these are just some of my books. I have so many books now. Um, yeah, when it comes to Ukraine, I have a couple of books going back in history. Not Viking Age this time, but what Stalin did and all that. That's one of the books there. So yeah, and I'm going to read another book about trees. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, Warrior and Mage says books are going to be worth more than gold at some point too. Well, yeah, that could very well happen if you look, into a future, if civilization breaks down and, well, then paper books will be important. And also, yeah, Gates, Bill Gates, he doesn't like trees. I have noticed. Yeah, isn't it funny how that works? Um, Paper books have the advantage of not being edited and re-edited and re-edited like an electronic version, right? Um, so, oh, truth spreader. I think you should tell us all how things are going. Um, and you're saying if you don't think there is a plan, then you haven't been paying attention. That's cute. Um, keep spreading the truth to us unread, unlearned, and uneducated people here. And Grimpus1 is trolling, saying books are gay. So we have the trolls here. That's wonderful. Yeah. Now there isn't a plan. There are many plans. There are many plans. If there was a plan, you know, it would be simple. There are many groups having a plan for us. And I think it's very naive not to understand that. But yeah, enough about that. Have you studied the runes? I have studied runes. And as you know, there are many rune. I don't like to use the word alphabet, but then you know what I mean. Many different rune alphabets, but it's not an alphabet. But it's, yeah. If you're talking about the magic thing with runes, no, not really. Just runes, writing with runes. No. Now, tribal nature. Oh, this is a new one. This is a new one, making me unpopular. Tribal nature says, I think at the core there is a plan. It seems chaotic, but they are very organized. I don't think they are that organized. I'm sorry, but I've witnessed this closer than you would know, actually, and they are not that organized. Okay, and I can't tell you really, but where they say where there is a will, there is a way. So keep your eyes open. Yeah, Van Transit says there's no plans, just human nature. That's basically, if you understand human nature and you, what's the word? You condense it down to, you reduce it down to primal instincts. It's easier to see what's going on. I find that's my opinion. Are you familiar with Jackson Crawford? Yes, I am. But no disrespect to Jackson Crawford. But here's the thing: what he's doing is not unique for someone like me. I can drive to the university in Oslo, and there will be several people doing the same there, studying the same. But that there's an American doing that is wonderful, and I like his translation of the whole mall, by the way. But it's not that unique here. Okay. Um, uh, yeah. Coach Timac says, "Look at how unorganized every major city is across the world. They are not so united." That's a very good point. Um, we tend to have this vision like here, right? But when you travel to other continents, for instance, which reminds me, I'm going to do quite a lot of traveling this year. But when you travel to other places, you see that things are quite different. Um, let's look at Africa, for instance. I have never been to Africa. I'm hoping to go there this autumn, this coming autumn, but it is going to be probably we're going to see a financial economic growth there that it's going to be amazing to witness in a way, fascinating. But it's I'm being told it is very different there. So we should kind of look to Africa. I believe that. That's just a hunch. I need to go there before I can tell you if what I've heard is true. But yeah, um, that's just one example. Go there; it's very different. Um, but I would say that if you go now where I live about 1.5 hours drive from Oslo, the capital in Norway. And if you go to Oslo now, it's like they've they've just following all the commands from the World Economic Forum. That's what it looks like, and that's scary when you see that. It's truly scary. Um, but then you travel, you go somewhere else, travel to, for instance, Eastern Europe, and it's very different, and so on. Um, yeah, the Dutch are nice people, by the way. Yes, they are. Um, now, let's see. Uh, yeah, here's a good point. Let's see. Yeah, Violet says the response to the big cough showed how easy we are pushed around without understanding what is going on. Sad. Yes, absolutely. Um, yeah, I like the Dutch people. It's just the country is very urban and small. Actually, we have uh, ice Morgan. Are you Dutch? Okay. We are um, having a lot of people from the Netherlands moving to Norway, and they are apparently saying that they are moving here because of access to nature, which I can understand. You know, Adrian Slaughter is talking about Satan. Um, if did you if you were a naughty boy or girl this year, and really naughty, then you would not get a visit from Santa. You would get a visit from Satan, who is also red. Yeah, a bit of a joke there. um, yeah, well, moved to Canada says last Duke in '67. Yeah, I like it here actually in Norway. Um, I like it here. Why do people bad things? Why people do bad things? Yeah, that is a big topic. Um, they justify it, right? Very often they justify it. Um, that's why I think morals um, are important, and morals, especially, and now you have to follow me on this one. And I trust that you can do that because you're awesome people here. You have to have a moral, you have to have morals without religion. You can have a religion as well, but what seems to be the case when your morals are tied to a religion, very often it's implied that your moral code does not apply to people who are unbelievers or non-believers. And we have seen that, evidence of that, up through last couple of thousand years. So morals, being able to separate right from wrong, it's about empathy. It really is. Um, some say religion is about control and morals is about empathy. And you can be religious, of course, but you have to have empathy and you have to have morals to be a good human being. Um, well, thank you, Printing Services Inc. Frode, well, that's very very kind of you. Um, that's an awesome donation. Thank you, thank you. Um, that's very kind of you. Um, okay. Um, yeah. Well, yeah, the religion thing is it's sensitive. It is sensitive, but it's like I will still talk about it, and it is a sign of respect when I do that because I trust that the people listening, that you guys, you are mature, intelligent, and you are okay with disagreement. We don't have to agree on everything. And especially moving into this year, as someone wrote here very, very wisely, we must build bridges now. And we can be different, that's okay, but we must build bridges. If you believe in freedom, if you believe in some core fundamental values, and I think we all agree on those, then we must build bridges. Then we can, in the future, when sometime, hopefully things are better, we can start, I don't know, fist fighting or something like that about the other things. um, so Tara says, "Stop it, please." Is there a troll here? I don't know. I can't. Uh, yeah. Okay. Um, if there are, if I will not stop it. This is my live stream. I'll just keep talking for as long as I want. But if you were referring to someone misbehaving here, yes, do stop the misbehaving. It's not nice. What do you hope to find in Africa? Well, I am going there for a very specific reason, um, and I won't tell you yet. If you follow this channel, if you subscribe to this channel, I will let you know. Um, so, Edie, thanks a lot for that donation. That is very kind of you. Um, very kind of you. Um, Tim, well, hope you get well soon. Um, that sounds like a training accident there, or something like that. Um, um, no, it's a very specific reason, and where that I'm going there. I have something specific to do there. It's not. Yeah, I'll I shouldn't have said that. I'll get back to that. Um, yeah. So basically, it's going to be a bit crazy now. I think we're going to see some crazy stuff going on, um, and yeah, keep your eyes open. You know, and I have a feeling that it's not going to take long before we see the first things happening. This winter will not be a calm and quiet winter, I think. Um, but it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling that I have. World War III, I really hope not. I really hope not. Um, yeah, White Cliffs, thank you for the donation. And also, that's good advice. You're writing, travel while you can. Yeah. Hmm. Uh, Tim says, I'm a one-legged MMA fighter, musician, and mechanic, is it? Mostly training, but combination of all. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm sure that your shoulder will heal up. We get a lot of that in powerlifting, you know, and it's, yeah, it is painful and it takes time, but I guess you know all about that, and you'll have to do the funny exercises with the bands and stuff. um, yeah, well, if you can click the like button, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. um, my Viking weapons and how they work, I will get back to that, but that will be on the main channel. There's a link to my main channel in the video description. um, the Anna Grisen, I hope I pronounced that correctly, says, I have a feeling it's going to be one of those proceed with caution periods of time. Um, Savage Lee says, rehab that shoulder, you'll get there. Yes, absolutely. And yes, there's this saying, was that Einstein? That he said something like doesn't know how, he didn't know how World War III was going to um, be fought, but he knew that World War IV is going to be fought with sticks and stones, something like that. The situation in with the Yemen attacking the ships and all that, I don't know. I don't know. I think it takes a bit of time to look into that. It's so complex what's going on in that area. Um, Dancing Eagle, well, thank you for that donation. Um, and you're saying focus on what brings you joy this year. Don't drink the cultural poison anymore. Yeah, by that I mean, be yourself and do what brings you joy. And I am an advocate for seeking, well, going out into nature and spending time in nature. Um, Now, Sapo says, This Christmas, I visited my family, and they were all the time stuck at the screens. It was a sad experience, and not a thing I say changes their behavior. Um, yeah, that is that is true. Hmm. Um, and Tim again. Tim is saying that you have only one hand and you're MMA fighting. I'm getting quite impressed here. You must be one of those few unique individuals who have this inner strength. So that's awesome. And an, an example to follow, isn't that what they say? Yeah. So get that shoulder healed up, and yeah. Let's see. um, yeah, getting out into nature with a camera, I enjoy that as well, of course. Um, so, but okay, I am going to have to end this live stream. And as I've said before, if you're not already a subscriber, then please consider to subscribe to this channel. Um, yeah, and that's all for now. Um, let's talk soon, and until then, have a wonderful day or night, whatever it is in your part of the world. And yeah, as always, stay strong.